I have the chair.
Wait, what's it called? Lake Forest.
Did I spell forest wrong? Or?
No,
Okay.
I just.
That would be really funny if I put like
That
Lake Forest.
would have been great.
If you did spell first, right? Okay. Wait, I have to.
It's kind of weird. Wait, good. Vaughn, you good?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna see if I can turn the light on because it's like weirdly dark over here. I do not feel like switch. Alright. Cool.
Oh wait, hold on, maybe hit start so I'll come out there. I'm trying to drop my top team because I'm fucking Alright.
Okay. Good.
Advantage what is climate, new federal oil and gas regulation, federal corporate forecast, likely factors into erosion, pricing, effective counterproductive water keeper lights, 24 by 4 oil and gas leasing rule, foster dominion, economy, climate attraction, public land, achieve some of all the necessary form of missing climate action, that's 8 times the science is clear to zero. Recruit business as usual, the federal middle state of humanity, beautiful chance of current national report, Bureau missing critical, opportunity to make a beautiful difference in the climate, climate, rights, and approach, which will allow the Bureau to respond to climate, effects federal oil and gas extraction, will probably lead to the water down the average, gross these countries releasing in years with climate, oil and gas recovery, has control decrease, the GHGs and teams that resolve climate change, federal lands are key axles in 21 of the national actors, have to verify the climate action, but commission so far, that coordination of DC, some additional, get the solid fabric of climate action, emissions from 1 to 1 by 523% GHG, return to land infrastructure, phosphorus, I don't think by BLM, states that will be controlled, what takes place in federal property, the series of these results save remain limited, ability to be decarbonization targets, restoration, forest ecosystem, places leading world taken apart, like portion of emissions, that's why don't cover public land, what we can use this year, and they are the carbon secret, the sources easier to be reached under Trump will test rate reduction gibbons, 24 the Trump goals, my savings, I page of potential federal lands, and leasing on the rate of from 2017 to 19, the increase global emission by 23 million in tons per year. Every molecule of abatement matters warming is existential fast and estimated carbon low trigger self-graduation certification Taylor. In 24 every global warming carbon ocean said equal to carbon speech will be without the white ocean not able to adapt to the the processes are naturally over a million and one harm. The food ability CO2 must be reduced climate to realize your rates maybe more likely to call that. They are flying for without survive last one. The equivalent of 51 times all emissions cascaded pushing your thunder without the path that you want to accelerate one another risk. Breakdown of the human within human life if possible. If you're down to measures not people politically technically feasible, I am longer term models are attacking without your foundation of these items may damage based on the path while the models do not goofy back to be the record and GHGs not time said. Current model legal pressing carbon rate, there's no precedent. Coming down be modeled the data. FCC is too short to go forecasting percent war emissions is yet to emerge. The FCC has GHG growth is now close while future emissions, but behind become likely due to missing feedback to emission scenarios as increasing how possible. Fossils not completely feasible and probability substantially makes it low sense. We are unique situation probabilities are possible. The purple are fairly natural sometimes we see on the including C10 started reducing cloud cover reaching out rate of 5 seasons across every prediction only 2050 11 GHG factor the most best scenario migration down IPCC. It's just not good. Climate change because of nuclear war we are 23 climate change diversity down the chain of river and diversity community respond with 60 record climate diversity so we change migration to war shortages combined with the technical central government use of nukes pure climate support cooperation major resource safety tensions or however drivers break down and be not climatic and not be and not be sign likely to drop from empirical evidence. And oil and gas development of public lands, emphasis biodiversity CBD, 22 oil development of public lands, damage ecosystem, contributing to soil, oil, air, water, the construction of drill facility environments, public lands displacement of wildlife, enjoying habitat, wildlife, disposal fires, and pollution, continuing to water roads, build for drilling, increasing human activity, formerly undisturbed areas, leading poaching fires, and widespread of besides species that relate to the place, native flora and fauna, U.S. public lands are key global biodiversity routes, 19 letter of the water grid, pushing important system, capacity of the depth of the earth's priority of the lands, power, also coming far where public lands, importance of world search for solution, believe how the world to help, essential to help species being hit the hardest moves, bears and birds, adapt to new reality, to fires. So weather resistant plants can lose by what it takes to survive a house fire. Reserve very polar plant species, one of the world's greatest. It's in a biodiversity, 10,000 species, lands, 15 million acres, vast landscape, less species, find safe refuge. Biodiversity loss causes extinction. There's a 22 by 2050 biomass exploded, large domesticated animals, wildlife, understanding, extermination, loss of population, service, and loss of species, and the great species dependent on eco function, they include the species, diversity of species, the complements of the population, due to cycling, erosion, control, the system, regulation, millions of years of link, ability to find calculated human population, diversity, regulate disease factors, and treat about the human, cannot solve without adaptive biodiversity. Most of the parts of the cover times occurs on realistic defenses, wrong, not dependent on warming, McPherson, 22 of the premise criteria, essential threat of the change of basic life resources, slow change of opportunity, power, speed, acceleration, critical extinction, including animal, hybrid animals die, the massive number of keeping nature shores, the food for the animals, but as I said, see extinction, one result, extinction, another, even the latter would adapt to any regulation about temperature levels, with the context of biodiversity, and habitability of our species, the other depend on survival, must assess parameters, the warming, conservation is critical to biodiversity, and carbon sequestration of Conville, 23 BL limiter, the service model habitat, migration corridors, and wildlife, and buffer against climate change, BLM lands, migrants, public lands, habitat for 300 endangered species, including species vessel, the BLM lands, survival depends on healthy, unfragmented lands, and now the conservation opportunities, of the yellow land with more bio, the climate was only found in the particularly the natural park rights, connective tissue between protected areas, so yellow, limitation service, essential natural carbon stores of this year 3 billion tons of carbon, natural carbon stock, the AFF solves first royalty surcharge, the carbon fee, the reduced supply and demand press, 21 carbon royalty surcharge, adjust the price of extra so the flex change data, which comes by burning and adjustments after the current rate, increase cost of production, federal lands, water, environment, come out, so maybe for these fall, which increase total production, not federal production will increase less, then the federal production gets consumed demand falls, royalty surcharge, that's alarm assessment, carbon fee, that can get has a royalty surcharge price first, so that's eventually reduces global emission press, 21 current, leasing not considered common costs of fossil fuels, one way to do so, common royalty surcharge, lead to meaningful declines in global emissions, second to the increase of royalty surcharge, and to reduce emissions by 63 million megatons of CO2 emissions per year, second cost, social environmental costs are critical, maximize benefits of federal leasing high, 18, at least not all of the costs, like consideration, maximize benefits, and now it's not kind of production, most of the social costs of real estate, but all the time in terms of short-term, tax price, lease never tail, the meaning, any economic goals of fight, emissions lease provides, benefits of access, they recognize environmental, social, content, services, including social costs, emissions, wage trade-offs, inherent here, should account for social environmental costs, adjusting terms of lease, when, where, and how to external lease, externalities, costs, recruit through the royalty rate, functions, the type of tax and activity generates, negative externalities, forms, reduce production, where the costs outweigh, the tax more better account for externalities. The AFF is intuitively simple, the social cost of carbon is evident high, 18 SEC, widely accepted use on multiple federal agencies for rules and programs, codifies accommodations, where the increasing carbon dioxide emission, SEC made the best method to analyze how emissions here should use each tool when making policy decisions. The social cost of carbon can be circumvented first, 20 carbon related foods, happens accepted by the social cost of methane, the element used, that cost less than the from the IWG, the core overturned the attempt to use production where it used it to sort social cost as justification, the judge rule, the lower estimate was arbitrary creation to fail to quantify accurately the environmental impacts present and not, most breaking out what constitutes the best available science on social cost of emission, the course would be influential in the future involving the social cost of emissions, the possibility Trump could be required to properly account for cost of climate change, thus the plan, the United States government should adopt a royalty surcharge based on the social environmental cost of carbon for federal, the fossil fuel leases advantage to is dead pool, loss of water in the Colorado River will destroy U.S. and be connected to segments, the crush U.S. returns encouraging China to be Taiwan exeter, 22 official water the Colorado needed the U.S. large water for 25 reach both sides, the levels become solo water and they'll go flow during certain times of the year, so we get to make sure we receive a third of its water from the Colorado River, so we get to be 30 mile water shortage by degrees and inevitable to investigate industry beauty, China. Manufacturing water takes a trip. They're crucial to the military retains ability to turn China and use it. Come with that domestic supply. US could do less. I say China based Taiwan and the out of 15. Economic risk US manufacturing China CD. To research aggressively deterring invasion relies on US to be carried out production broadly. 23 with plan to increase production outside of Taiwan. The US and allies have very hard to make sure China move toward unification steps to support Taiwan. The US is able to demand and drive some fab. Countries that can withstand disruption to Taiwan have an upper hand to competition in US to advantage the power to Chinese action against Taiwan. They will then get risk. A global disruption in the US unification. China's advantage could act against Taiwan. Invasion sparks World War III hassle. 325 hassle invasion Taiwan. The state destroyed World War III. China increasing security on defense. The countries can act in simulation appear like invasion Taiwan invasion and the Alliance World War when the US and the involved drives European allies. And the Colorado River is key to global food supplies and prices safety. 23 the exiled code in the Colorado River, 80% river goes water goes supporting agriculture, the US in war, and the US in the war, 9% wind direction coming from the Colorado River impacts these agriculture increasing cost of food. Lots of Western agriculture costs global family Kevin. 20 the consequences drought and went down to Western agriculture food insecurity high prices capital priority shortage ability move and war food producing American West meanwhile. The future remains of the world rising cost hunger and the world American producers tackling the challenge of global payment loops on the rising producers and southwest racing for water shortage. That causes nuclear war. US agriculture is key. Tesla 18 in the US faces wars of Russia, Korea, nuclear war competition with the Russia and China viral threats or security posed by Australia. Family migration, creating community search, manufacturing of food is imperative to level price, wise and prices to produce stable countries and security like disability. Around East Africa, the agencies of the population generating conflict American ag soybean sector value initiative on leasing vitality with innovation farms leverage. Expertise and managed risk, sustained reclamation funding is key. Burke 24 water solid risk additional funding needed water use production for all sectors. Stakeholders see production through the 26 relying on reclamation funding additional funding is needed. The chief long-term production points both the Burke increase funding needs an increase funding for reclamation water grants so we can take billions we need reservoirs of money. Royalties generate billions of revenue. The Holland 20 tech and $50 per ton a compared to left hand oil and gas businesses are striking right balance between them. The GHG reduction involved increasing revenue according to research moratorium eliminates the reduced carbon added which internalize the GHG settlement cheap emissions of the direction by 7 billion additional royalty per year, which gets recycled to regulation water fund for water products gold. The 14th year responsible for collecting is repeating revenue from energy development offshore mineral resources 40% regulation fund for Western water products. Condition 3 is thumpers. The Department of Interior Bureau of Land Management just issued new regulation for federal oil and gas leases landry. 24 to produce oil and water and produce oil and gas on federal lands are street employees by the DISBL and the state of the federal leasing program in decades and new regulations really raise minimum lease bond more than 15-fold remaining costs are borne by oil and gas companies over to rates or these are at 60% up until 2032 12.5 also raise minimum ballot that auction which will trample up whole Oregon 24 by the 428 increases safe from the shop block because they were ordered by Congress and the IRA repealing rules passed won't be a high priority. They also banned oil and gas rolling in the River Mountains Sharma 25 by the take city conservation of removing to protect the River Mountains in Nevada from oil, gas, and geothermal development for 20 years, which on 264,442 acres of federal lands releasing this board. The incoming administration says the AJ to safeguard public lands, and they banned coal leasing, powder river basin, netting, 17 by the coal leasing, the powder river basin, central blue battle brand, fuel bonds, national subsidized legacy, the most proactive use, presidential advantage shift to clean energy, short-term electricity costs could increase decommissioning coal plants. Ethan, give me a card, including significantly expanding geothermal energy, public land PLM, Teach monetary announcement, expanding geothermal energy, public land PLM, approved keep geothermal power project, which will turn power to 2 million PLM, approved 30 gigawatts, public energy project, public energy, 3 projects, approved, divided, and hosted the biggest lease sale of more than 15 years. So back to the Deadpool advantage.
Yeah.
Invasion goes nuclear spinning. Trying to tiny nuclear documents of paying whether they use nukes or malleable factor of the personal judgment of tiny officials. On the version so equivalent like a Chinese horses when I my first year time on China's Russian like in Chinese like US forces and we have targets on the mainland and a lot of damage could and to flame public boxing and Chinese leadership there was a commission of everything between a regime civilian war of atomic against the level against because of accepting humiliation. They'll send that. Do you want the card? It's just like invasion goes nuclear.
I think we're good. You have cross-ex?
Yeah.
Why is the environmental cost of carbon key?
The Hein evidence outlines that in both the social cost and environmental costs are key to create an explicit charge that balances what leases can and cannot happen.
But why the environmental cost?
I mean, if you're going to pick out an environmental cost, we have read evidence that says the environmental cost is how we calculate what is exactly destroyed on public land, and that's
Why
part
is
of the
that key?
cost. Yeah, the Hein evidence is like two things. Environment cost, it's like literally when we
You
go
just
in.
keep saying what the plan
The
is.
Hein
Why is that
evidence
necessary?
describes
Yeah,
it's
well, you
necessary
keep cutting me off.
to evaluate things like deforestation, well shut-ins, etc.
Environmental costs keep
Social
evaluating
cost is-
deforestation. Is that
I mean,
is that correct?
we're not going to like.
I mean, those are the
Deforestation is an
words that
example.
just
You
came
can
out
just
of your
said
mouth, so.
we think environmental cost is whatever would destroy the environment and the
Seems
cost
really
of those
conservative
resources.
deficit
Social
right
cost is based
now.
off of the social cost of like emissions. Say what
Okay.
social cost of carbon is.
Trump will ramp up production. What stops him from moving it to non-federal lands?
Well, we have said federal lands are key. We have said every
Do
molecule.
the emissions that come on non-federal lands just not count towards
Every
climate
molecule
change?
of it matters.
Okay,
We
why
reduce-
doesn't he do the exact same thing on non-federal lands?
Why doesn't we have said that federal lands are key? Like obviously other
Well, I'm
emissions
asking
exist.
why.
Our argument is that we can. Also, there's like obviously no answer to why wouldn't Trump just like do everything? The argument is that federal
There's no
lands.
answer to that.
We have production of federal lands is bad. We have said reducing that rate of
Why
emissions
does
key
that
to
solve
solve our
climate
impacts.
change?
So we have said every molecule of abatement matters. The
Why-
Taylor evidence.
How many molecules do you think you abate? It seems like basically
The
zero.
Taylor evidence is very specific. That
Well, it
we
says
don't have
every
to
degree
solve
of
every bit of warming.
Oh, no, sorry. Actually, this card is not what you wanted to say. It says every degree of warming up to 2 degrees Celsius will add to sea level.
I think
Do you
are
solve 2 degrees Celsius?
you are just mischaracterizing the evidence in the
I
argument
just
we are
ran a
making.
line from
The
it.
argument is that every molecule of abatement matters because every molecule of carbon exponentially increases the
But it
exponential
says
risk
2
from
degrees
warming.
causes extinction.
We have
Does that
said
get us
that
below 2
we have said
degrees?
every molecule of carbon exponentially increases the risk of
Do
extinction.
you have a
You've also
card that
just
says you
misread
solve 2
that line. It
degrees?
says every degree of warming up to 2 degrees adds 1.3 meters to sea levels. Beyond that adds 2.4 meters.
Yeah,
It doesn't
every
say
single
warming.
molecule up to 2 degrees. We are
Okay.
still emitting. If we reverse it, that's probably good. Like this is.
Yeah. The Deadpool advantage, does that do anything to solve the Colorado River besides giving it money?
The reclamation fund is key to protection of the Colorado.
But there's no other
It
solvency
is
way.
the only solvency mechanism.
Why is the Colorado River like dying now?
The evidence has said this is drying up because we are using the resources faster than we are sustaining it. Examples are things like city production is using more water than it's putting back into the rivers.
I hate to ask this question again, but you know, we seem to come to a consensus that Trump's gonna do a lot of bad things to the environment. How do we outspend him?
That's irrelevant. We've said the reclamation fund pays
What does it do? What do we fund?
specific projects like maintaining water resources, dumping water into
Okay.
lakes, etc. are all things the DOI does external to Trump.
It's probably 7 off, but like there's 8 to the dock, so I might get to 8. And that's the first advantage and then the second advantage.
Oh shit, I lose all my guns.
Which my attention goes back.
I bought the
I bought 8.
You brought 8?
It pulls that. It pulls that.
Oh, that's pretty nice of you.
Yeah, I'm good now.
Another step for each day.
It's looking necessary. Me too.
Does anyone have?
Yo.
Cool. First off is the bubbles. The fossil fuels are shifting investments toward clean energy, which drives a soft landing, kills 24/7 steel, represent 40% of the global emissions these. Interstate revenue decarbonization, carbon capture, SLB China cycle capture. We're going to look at 24 months, we come to market, SLB CEOs, carbon capture, leading world revenue targets now. 4 trillion based on the at scale. Bigger users targeting 7 billion for new energy management, the root of sea tag. Being committed to Exxon, building codes, oil and gas, center for CCS, Exxon, that are given to capture emission from ammonia, fertilizer, steel, international gas reducing costs, from 5 million tons of emissions annually, incident scale which costs, huge emissions. But the rapid shock of the plan causes an oil and gas fire seal that crashes the economy and arrests CCS, causes 1 3 ecological change will be lost, destroyed. The market invest low carbon substance for tradition can be provided by single carbon, provide courtesy carbon, tax and production and cost of RE, so if you lost so unlikely to be limited by energy infrastructure could be subject to cutting carbon intensive activities, so sensitive asset trending, social unrest, business interruption, copy harassment, investment, political, financial crisis, following, and loss of value of fossil companies. Economic decline causes the existential war with China, Russia, and proxy powers compared to 20,000 global companies like the depression is shifting. Power also losing company growth with no growth in Russia dominance not being taken for granted. China's been catching up, modernizing. Curves are vulnerable to Russia and China have something hard. Game over the bit of a contraction over China. Nevertheless, like to maintain a better response to come out better off. Never to be already declining power. Never to global arms race. Never some out very little US in space. Ever since going to launch wars many. Myth after access is traveling into civil war countries near Africa and America being better for conflicts. Next up is the advantage the United States should 1. Substantially increase subsidies for regenerative agriculture, community-led global forest restoration, and protecting carbon-rich wetlands, and 2. Give Colorado Basin river water rights holders $3 billion. 1. NCSLs, working on 23. The agriculture production proposals consistent of low cost features, the service level percent and growing, the carbon subsidy in the century states, the land trash and food and carbon California national working, the land for annual source of coordinating the forest, the competition with land security, achievement reduction ag, equal with the water service restoration, forest health, 200% of carbon mitigation potential, even with climate-driven carbon losses at the emission, mitigate the effects of the not only maintain testing, but also increases between 100% of diverse, we're looking at against and economic reversals. Sequestration is a key internal link that kind of went beyond that. I mean, inserting a re-highlighting of what is the actual sign at all. 21, they read most of the words that are re-highlighting, so I'm not hearing it out loud. 2, this card says the plan would raise $3 billion in revenue. The second thing beyond that, it's all same deal with the re-highlighting situation. The trade next off is the trade DA, the United States chapter policy that bans future non-carbon adjusted tariffs entities. The plan will be comparable to carbon border adjustment that destroys green growth and global trade costs. 21, as well as one investing, the Western NDCA here, there was no leader was domestic industry that doesn't costing jobs, reducing housing CBS right away after the summit and against Europe. See what's ever reserved domestic gains, the catching up walls of aggressive CBS are on work with the development of employment innovation that cut emissions. Specifically, it sinks India's economy on 16. Economic impact errors as well as reduction. Now, if exported outputs, no major guys orders bigger hydro resin, domestic export upon dark subsidies all reported. Exports over economic losses of carbon to repost $70. China India South Africa very effective. 9% were traded, leading to severe welfare losses. That causes diversionary war in Kashmir. Part 22. Kashmir locked into India, Pakistan, and problem a couple of the nuclear prevention model source. That involves economic instability. Political crisis in Kashmir when they use it for conversion of marine power and high political risk can easily result in nuclear war over Kashmir. Next up is the MBI pick. The United States federal government should ban clean energy market-based entrants and ban fossil fuel leases on federal lands. The counterone solves the AFF would lead the RFS to 1.2. RFS mechanism mechanism compliance RES. Nuclear fuels use RES bought and sold. That turns warming and decimates food production. Last up 23. RFS require increased water that's also boundaries of RFS. This is an increased carbon emission and food production consumption for national dead rise. To be RFS require less than 25% land area plan that is being used to also local business and food security standpoint. Our head of ban production costs for loss and increased eco pressure. More significant that increases the depot. Extinction shifting away from unsustainable production paradigms is key for 20. This over the show world on the resources to produce food that hardship, new tractions securing that food supply can eat. Intensive security, saturated health and nuclear arms safety, but all the over half and drive down temperature moderation. Number causes irritability and European community countries. Not edge all these conflicts being vertified creates something food, less dependent make food, the greatest woman of peace. Wow, this 1AC is full of re-highlightings. The plank that bans leases is better than a surcharge for the environment. I'm reinserting 1AC in Presence Doctrine 1. Actually, I'll read this line very slowly. We consider the surcharge to achieve 80% of the emission reductions of an outright leasing ban. Next up is the K. The 1AC is eco-moderation, which is implicit with fascism, precludes the conditions on possibility for trans life, code negative, to reject healing the wind of climate change 6 and 23, and saying, well, no, what is underground, what is unknown, it's not a history, we don't have anything else about people, no place in the universe, the universe life that's going to be up with the nurse, we're supposed to go next week, yes, I have goals and power, the way we imagine the end would have also been generating great possibility of goals or mental, but also is cultivated word of trans, life making a branch of social labor, capitalism, highly implicit social, really because those are gendered, then because of trans life cannot be, I think without capitalism, that requires an apocalypse, so we don't know transformation, reaction, what's us, no one who's uncomfortable future, our activity, the idea is critical attention to what to be liberatory, never should deal with should deal with loss, never just we cannot pass this on some, the closer trying to serve, never want to make it hard work, no sort of really transform, no without political commercial life, cannot go on. Next up is the social cost of carbon pick. The United States federal government should adopt a royalty surcharge based on the environmental cost of carbon, the federal fossil fuel leases, social cost of carbon, poison solvency of Castello, 24, comes to measure as a dependent production that is alpha, so we consider public, program, no, about practical water, shining, never going to be is so construction. We have no idea what tax rate industrial parameters are subject to industry bureaucrats argue the 60 best advances there to the effect of GDP is usually the vote of regular than the actually expected to vote of policy application models are not robust and not social policy makers and easy manipulated like the policy makers. Number of thousands remains helpful AUS. The tax rate effect of 80% of emissions originating in foreign countries. Next up is topicality in when referring to jurisdiction by geography means throughout words and phrases aid in the act of 86 when providing justice as have jurisdiction in other countries in the world. Shall be considered to mean through islands and countries. The United States means 50 states and DC. U.S. Code of military procedures showed out the term U.S. and copies between the U.S. and DC. Vote NEG 1 limits to justify any upstream entry of the AFF weeks, any energy plant, any specific downstream tax. 2 ground. This is a decarbonization topic. Holistic transition is required to ensure the AFF is larger than the status quo. Sure wasn't fast enough. Okay, climate advantage. 1. Renewable transition destroys biodiversity. Clean water supplies and forestry drives DC and climate proper. 2. For decarbonizing for more reasons also equivalent spend. Blessing when 9 full-time for residential Chinese federal fire. And reverse from produces GTO mass. Digital for workers surrounding community design also between 2. Then use environmental complex companies. They trade local water, sailing blood, chat, battle. Means that they're nearby water polluting the air with emissions and aerosols from deforestation threatening biodiversity areas. Then health problems disease long lasting environment. Then topics 2. Global emissions stuff spent 19. Or global taxes on US with one string global emissions. Both countries are trying to follow because they continue to hold top priority with class wealth and tax on targets to be not served by for oil and US, tax on oil price for other solar transition renewables. 3. Pricing carbon fails most 24. Higher warnings for all products by directly design, gives of energy, even the corporate tax over because we have carbon average oil price and resource plant yet, because of the price of reduced demand, as we increase the negative impact, removers I think would just be another regards to tax effect and government costs especially high, the reduce demand by using recession, even pressure rebates, lower cost of higher carbon by lead demand, the purpose of ocean will follow or not even fall for reality. 4. The grid can't scale. Yeah, okay. 4. No extinction from climate change. 123. Climate let us have an end to a point. The only municipality are best for us all. The loss of percent of warming substitute causes and factors, restrictions, separation, worsened. That comes from a point of climate change. Speaker relative and accurate understanding. Super effective climate everything is not as the same world. Will humans ever be powerless to the adaptation, even the road, middle road mitigation. Can dramatically reduce for us all. Who does reduce will eliminate 70-50 for frozen methane, but decarbonization greatly reduce likely divorce case. Scenarios in the plan was 7 years ago, 4.4 years. There may not be enough time to address decarbonization to several years. Solution of theories for contribute reductions. 5. Energy security is resilient. Supply chains have. Okay, Deadpool advantage. 1. No CRB collapse now, but all causes to call around a river collapse. Plastic dumping, state pollution, and agricultural. Rivers take water from other states, so obviously just banning things on federal lands can solve. 2. China won't invade Taiwan. Bombs the Dow 24. Within the circles reduce number of Taiwan become common. First, number I consider the risk. Forecasters consistently rate the risk as low considering modernization versus going for a very liberal holding China down to become confident when basing. Those attacking what is attacking US interests of China, US revenue capital, China has little interest broken conflict. China's served as likely less ideological or matter growing people is narratives alright. No matter the not percent accession with other acceleration low based on probability forecasters. I still be able to grasp many Taiwan's role in semiconductor industry is known. Consequently, with China harder than the West makes some and economic crisis for the please could be expected to prevent conflict. 3. No risk of collapse. Food supply is resilient and Trump immigration reform thumbs shakes 24. If immigration reform becomes possible to attract workers, they have packed up. So much as we help this way. Never the manufacturing redundancy with combination fuels. Never the low borders or the rise of lines. Never as accelerated coverage people because service why. Because that risk of collapse certainly not. 4. Well. What do you want me to do here?
No, yeah, we just read that.
Okay. 4. Chinese semiconductor advantage is inevitable. Flowers 24. Chinese semiconductor attack through early customer companies war visit domestic manufacturing too. It's not another country China push. Nobody's worried about the global metals and offers subsidies to clean tech China's. Our manufacturing is going to over 80% of the battery supply, just 97%. No solar production holding US and EU combined China's. This will also build cost manufacturing team overseas. They can also work with the center production costs of service with other rich workers, not just when cost producing. That's a cluster of modules and cells. No water
The
torches.
first advantage and read this once it'll be back on a second.
Okay, the first advantage. 6. Biodiversity is increasing resilient regardless of human intervention. Hillground at 23. Threshold priority encourage scaling issue as long as extinction gets less than gaze. Critical priority objection to 48 and show granting increase in diversity rather than loss of threshold to the narrative of little validity. No priority might be the reason ecological system absorb. Nature functional recovery was the norm. Should I read this one?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Back to the Deadpool advantage. No water shortages, this was 19. Such repeated without any screening of methodology data. Neither water is renewable indefinitely. In terms of reduction use words, including water from ag use, is efficient and globally ag is a percentage of water use for over a decade. Nobody's increase the more to countries who improve management.
I'm setting up the biodiversity grid.
Yep, I'll wait for that.
Set.
Okay, when Ethan gets it, we start. How many times can you click before it comes to the inbox?
Oh, probably a lot.
Don't throw it down.
Alright, cool. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Status of everything.
It is conditional, the status quo is an option, but the K is not an alternative, it's just a framework question, and we can't take blanks.
Okay, that answers my next 2 questions. Trade aside, what evidence do you think you have read that a royalty surcharge on federal fossil fuel leases would have a CBAM attached?
Well, if the catch is like the link card doesn't say royalty
Okay.
surcharge, then yeah, that the warrant is applicable.
Okay, Biden increased rates on federal fossil fuel leases from 12.5 to 16.7% in 2024. Why was the CBAM
Donald Trump
attached?
was not the president when that happened.
Trump wasn't the president. You've read a card that says a CBAM is attached. Why didn't that increase in royalty rates cause a CBAM?
Republicans like it a lot more than Democrats do.
So you have to hedge your bets on the Republican Congress will pass a CBAM as a result of
Yeah,
the
they
plan.
really
What
do.
evidence do you think you have read that remotely gets to that argument?
So
You have just read a CBAM bad card.
That's not true. The first card is pretty solid about the decline in relative manufacturing capability, especially for fossil fuels, encouraging Republicans to attach a
Where
CBAM.
does it? Okay, so
It's like pretty explicit. I can read lines.
okay, that's fine. The econ does that. Link evidence is about an economy-wide carbon tax causing a quote disorderly transition. Why do you think the AFF links to this?
I actually don't really agree with the premise. So one of the things that it does critique is a carbon tax, but it also says, or a sharp reduction in the cost of renewable energy technology. So it's assuming more.
It says,
right?
quote, a sudden disorderly transition because of a carbon tax. The disorderly transition that you are referencing,
or the other thing.
yeah, the
And we're
disorderly transition is in the context of the entire economy being forced to do that. Why does the AFF link?
First of all, you've read several cards that the 1AC would have like an economy-wide shock, federal leaders are key, we're going to impact her in that claim. Second of all, the fact that this is clearly more than just economy-wide carbon price demonstrates that the AFF is clearly adopting a
Okay.
for this.
The advantage counter plan substantially increased subsidies for a whole bunch of things. Who can get the subsidies? Is it like private landowners?
For the first plank, so
Yes.
it probably is different for each mechanism, and I can walk through it normally.
But it's just like a bunch of private citizens that would get the subsidies, right? Like broadly.
like kind of like for ag.
Would
for
the
example,
federal
like,
government ever buy a subsidy from itself? That's like the important question.
Oh no, they can't.
Okay, perfect. Every single internal link we've read in the 1AC says public lands are key. How do private landowners sustain or help restore public lands?
Because carbon can be sequestered anywhere in the world.
Well, carbon can be sequestered anywhere, but our internal links are about the collapse of those specific lands. Confused why you think that, what piece of it is you think you've read this? Is
The
that
second advantage is about those internal links, and we've solved that plank via different
no, the
subsystems.
biodiversity stuff is. So I want to know how the counterplan solves
The
biodiversity.
biodiversity argument is something that can be resolved via this 1AC card that's talking about just like shoring up ecosystems by incorporating broad natural climate solutions. Also the technology for this, right? Like if regenerative agriculture were to scale in one place in the country, economies of scale could also ensure that the government adopts it somewhere else. Plus, private citizens are the ones that make this
What was 2AC4 or 1NC4 on Advantage 2?
God, that's such a good question. I'll maybe I have to figure it out.
It was
Otherwise, just what
you,
was the card you skipped?
you skipped grid scale not fast enough.
Yeah, so chorus, no climate impact.
Okay. 10 minutes starting.
You'll be taking
Yes.
Sorry, you have it. Just read it off my computer.
What were you on your things with these cards?
I have nothing on that right now. No, you had it in your print off.
Do you want to know the answer? Nothing, unfortunately.
That's terrifying. Jesus, is that an opt definition? So I can't.
Which is the word of doctor that's on that.
It's such this should be one of the first things I look at.
What's the net benefit to the social cost of carbon pick?
It's internal.
Oh,
I know.
fascinating.
I think so.
And the politics too, we didn't read.
Is it?
Well, it could be. I don't know. It is in politics too.
When you say politics, you mean impoundment, right? Just
Oh no, I was joking. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
So on advantage 2, you read Vespi, not Jacobson?
Did not read Vespi.
Okay, read Jacobson.
Did read Jacobson.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, are you good? I just saved 2 subsets. But we can read it, but you need stuff.
Yeah, can you grab an economy needles card?
Okay, 705.
Do you want to not send it until I get back?
Yeah,
Get back?
sure.
That's fine.
Can we see inflation high now? The answer is, maybe the answer is yes. No, we can't. I know you made a dark myth yesterday, round 3. Who'd you have round 4?
1 each.
Okay.
We were for me.
Nice.
How's your tournament been?
Been good.
Some weird debates.
Yeah. We made Navy.
Oh, we
Oh
also-
my god, that debate was ridiculous.
It actually, hollowed out my brain.
Yeah,
The RFP in our Navy debate was the process counter plan solves the discourse about the military so we know when the draft happens. And it's net beneficial because you drop the internal net benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I've never heard a more like just confusing debate. They kicked the AFF and the 1AR, and extended like this framework argument they made on the K and the 2AC that was like only inbound discourse matters. We talk about the military, draft sample, we should learn how to be in the military. I was like, what the fuck?
They do this against our K teams, and it's just like, oh my god.
I mean, they've won too many debates, I think, because so many teams would just like blow it off and then just like get punished by that.
Do you have any draft non-applicable Eagles cards?
Do you have them?
No, we don't. Do you?
No, because the argument is true, but the problem is that no one.
Is the draft inevitable?
The draft is probably inevitable because we'll probably go to a conflict at some point.
Yeah, but we're not gonna draft troops.
Yeah, but the time frame is in like 75 years that it's inevitable.
Perchance, yeah.
Well, then debate's not key. We're like,
Yeah,
that's
debate's
like-
not key, but no card fucking says it's in 75 years.
Aren't we like mostly undraftable? Like I don't think I'm draftable.
Why are you not draftable?
First off, mostly 18-year-olds get drafted, right? I'm also an SSRI.
No, it's any 18 to 25, I believe, and it's just like when it would happen in Vietnam, I think it was just a random lottery.
yeah. But they're pretty good about the like answering X group is excluded because they've cut cards that's just like every exemption will be removed in the event of
Okay.
It's like every single person could and would be drafted, and so you need to know
They
what to
said
do.
Black Anxiety good against Rita Eden, which is insane as an impact turn.
Yeah.
That's a little.
Did you
Oh man.
did you see the impact turn? I don't know if it's the same one you're referencing. That was like black patriotism good. They were like,
I think so.
like it was like black people need to stop talking about anti-blackness. Need to talk about how much America is awesome.
Like Kagan 89.
Yeah. No, they're like 2024 cards with like the What America Network and shit.
Oh my god.
But they like win these debates because like every team is just like, this is absolutely stupid. Like, why would anyone say this? And then they have blocks with like 25 cards to answer everything.
You know, game respects game. Like that.
I need to get my grandfather NDT prep.
That confesses to docs.
Man, I'm gonna get drafted. now I'm so sad.
Yeah. Probably not.
Alex, are you graduating this year as well?
That's the plan.
Okay, so we're all graduating. All four of us are graduating.
Yeah, that's cool.
Uh,
There's like a really small off chance I might go back.
yeah. What are your post grad plans for both y'all?
Work in the law school.
I need to get a job.
What did you major in?
Statistics and psychology.
Ooh, double major?
Yeah.
Nice.
You won't.
Stats is too much. I took one stats class and not a fan.
I have a job lined up in Denver for software engineering.
Yeah.
I'm doing a 2-year rotational program called a leadership development program. But I'm an electrical engineering major, and so I will be doing some random things. The person that interviewed me was like, yeah, if you come here, you're actually going to be doing mechanical engineering, not electrical, so I hope you can figure that out. I said, I probably cannot, but I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so too. I bet you do too.
You didn't want to pay me, so.
I hope so too. It's awesome. It was just sent. That is totally the wrong doc. I definitely sent the right doc, I think. Yeah.
And
I just for some reason.
Ethan's gonna read
I
a
don't
card
know.
off my computer. I'm also attaching to the email chain right now. Let me know when you.
The order is case in order. Ooh. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Case in order. So, climate, Deadpool, thumpers, topicality, the trade disadvantage-ish counterplan, the social cost of carbon pick, the advantage counterplan, the MBI pick, the critique, and then the bubbles disavow.
Can I get that one more time after trade?
Yeah, after trade, it's the social cost of carbon pick,
Yeah.
the advantage counterplan,
Yeah.
the MBI pick,
Okay.
the critique,
Yeah.
the bubbles disadvantage.
Give me like 2 seconds.
Yeah, of course.
I need to reverse this. Okay.
Still need a few seconds.
No fingernails much.
1 second. Sorry.
Wake, are both of y'all good?
Yep.
Perfect. Why did my doc just freeze? That's okay. It's back.
We're so back.
1 and 2
while not external impacts of any of these arguments does not assume adoption of clean mining or recycling, which is happening in the status quo in Europe, does not access or racial relief to biodiversity laws. Cases about U.S. public lands, but their evidence is about mining in Germany. Second, if global emissions are irrelevant, except the 2AC or the 1AC Taylor evidence. Every molecule of pavement matters. We don't know where tipping points lie, but we know every reduction reduces the intensity of climate change limits the probability of exceeding planetary thresholds, as the Taylor evidence, and they drop that. Other countries are reducing emissions in the status quo, so it's just a question of whether or not the U.S. federal lands follow on. 1AC 3 does not assume the affirmative applies to royalty rates. It leases upstream, it reduces supply and demand conditions solved. That's a linear of carbon in the 1AC. Only we have evidence in the context of the AFF. All of their evidence is about carbon pricing broadly, or the IRA. 1C4, yes, extinction. The Taylor evidence entice their models that they have read. Temperatures and droughts are worse today than they were predicted in 2040, even under the worst assumptions under IPCC 8.5. It causes extinction, anoxia, extreme heat, soil deterioration, and desertification are tipping points that the earth uninhabitable. The impacts of the energy threshold of emissions reduction dramatically increase the risk of extinction. That's the Taylor evidence. They drop that. It causes nuclear war via migration and water crisis. That causes a scarcity. That's the BUHOG evidence. They drop the plan does solve. The plan protects lands essential for carbon storage, protects more than 3 billion tons of carbon and natural stock. The biodiversity impact, biodiversity loss causes extinction, crop yield, medicine, nutrient cycle, pollination, all depend on biodiversity. Collapse causes disease, food shortages, and extreme weather. That's the tier. So and McPherson evidence 2EC or 1EC5. I'm not sure what this argument means. We have read a specific piece of evidence in the context of the 1EC that says that raising royalty rates would reduce both the supply and demand because it would not be economical for some operations to continue. 1EC6 is not about biodiversity loss on federal lands. Yes, tipping points, it overcomes ability to adapt and causes and causes other species to die who can otherwise adapt. U.S. public lands are key to global biodiversity, creates hundreds of biomes spanning millions of acres, contains the species we hit hardest. That's Rex. I finished too. 1C1, yes, collapse now. Only we have evidence of plant channel revenue, which is sufficient to solve it. 1C2, yes, in phase Taiwan, their evidence assumes U.S. having conducted propagation, which is collapsing in the status quo. Taiwan invasion goes nuclear. Chinese officials assert invasion legitimacy serves to use public sentiment, CCP legitimacy, and value in Taiwan. That's the Sweeney evidence. Yes, I prefer our evidence that says invasion is likely by 2027. Increased defense spending, Chinese simulations, and white papers. That's the hassle evidence. Their evidence is purely speculative. 1C3, you cannot grow crops if you do not have water to grow them. Their evidence is not assuming the Colorado River reaching tenfold status by at the end of this year. 1C4, China says some characters are relevant. 1C5 does not assume the Colorado River. U.S. food insecurity ignites global hostile escalation, terrorism, Korea, Iran, Russia, China, Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia, all good nuclear civil wars and unrest, low with the national escalation and trust and great powers. That's the Castello evidence, no new impact, defense thumbs. 1, the BLM raise royalty, raise the minimum, release the massive first, increase in tech case, that's the entry evidence applies to econ. Decide to ban oil and gas drilling in Ruby Mountains, which drew 268,000 acres of federal land. That's Charlotte 3, ban a coal lease in the Powder River Basin, the increased electricity gas, that's 94. BLM is the biggest expanding geothermal energy on federal lands because leasing more than 15 years. That's the BLM evidence T. We need any industry in any state can lease federal lands. We need their federal lands in every state, national parks, monuments, etc. And it means within Merriam-Webster notated and being inside of Rope. And in the United States, the lesser exception of almost 10 degrees. In the United States, our first state in the TC with the exception of the state of Mississippi. In the U.S. doesn't designate a particular form. Kleinfeld at almost 22 degrees. In the United States does not designate a particular form. Prefer one logic. If I'm in a room, I'm within it, not throughout it. Their interpretation belies common sense to eliminating every lose you. There are not companies in X state 3 functionalist, oil, econ, capping, etc. has never been better when the process spent a lot of time on trail feature, which is a unique for every topic. Is that reasonability to good? Is good enough if they could be a reason to vote out. Trade. Permutation, both permutation to the counterplans of the internal net benefit and no link theory, the affirmative is not saying that again here for resiliency. We can separate some as corporation from trade and uniqueness counterplan links to the economic times 1-3. Trump's first president AG relations have several holds his wife flourishing strategic and retaliatory terms Trump, which I think is preferential. Trade human David Trump, 50% of Chinese imports and sectors kind of less than the gap in the market of trade war, idiot benefit despite of territory use and Trump style strengthening of idiot usage to ties and defense of policy institute here. Concerns about China, this opposite trade related challenges, or it's down by the set of code is the counterplan only bans future tariffs and does not assuming the Senate which already increased them yesterday, no evidence relations of the war into the Indo-Pacific, or that Andy would block U.S. defense corporation post-event. We get new answers. When they read a complete argument, the affirmative is not a carbon tax and applies a wholesale economy-wide. The not read piece of evidence says that the affirmative results in a CPM and is thumped because upon a raised royalty rates last year, and we did not adopt a carbon border adjustment. Their evidence just says it would be preferential if we did adopted one, not that we actually would do one. Yep, good. The social cost of carbon. Good. Permutation, both permutation to the counterplan picks or voting issues the entirety of the 1EC or answers that makes us debate ourselves. How does the voting issue cause the 2EC time strategies to encourages arguments to debate responsibilities to themselves all of their offense. They do not have an internal net benefit to this. The affirmative certainly solves it. Dropped at the 1EC Brooks evidence, which is much better. They have no evidence that says that Trump can set the social cost of carbon low, just as the Heritage Foundation will want it to. He physically cannot. The course rule setting the social cost of methane low ignores scientific consensus in order the EPA to raise the cost, and that applies to quote social cost of carbon. That's the evidence. Their evidence does not assume their evidence does not assume the cost of emissions, which means that the prices for environmental cost of carbon would be set low. It means that environmental cost of carbon can be set low, but not the social cost of carbon. It allows Trump to set the price zero solvency. It does and does not account for negative externalities like well shot in, so which ensures runaway climate change. SEC is the best measure for determining the rate. That's the high evidence inserted for reference. The advantage template.
Permutation by permutation to the counterplay, playing 2 collapse of the economy, controls at all 21, excessive pending is creating economic risk, and national temperature private investments, low growth, and which aggregation deficits will lead to inflation of markets, and pronunciation of increase in chance of a big economic downturn, current plan, common low inflation, no cost for company previous financial crisis, but follow like a sudden win without a warning. They talk about solvency advocate for its, you should make them read one before accessing any of their solvency. South Plank 1 cannot solve, does not solve advantage 1 production, so we even have we plant some trees, this problem because warming still happens, this species are so destroyed, public lands are key, they are vital habitats and corridors, connecting national parks to reduce the species ranges. The counterplan cannot protect those lands because it gives money to the private sector. So that's a rouse evidence permutation to the app and all possible combinations of plants. The NDI pick. Permutation about permutation of the plan of the RFS. The RFS is not an NDA, no cell antenna. NPR is defined definition, technical, neutral, and market-based instrument is defined as for perfect without place of price on it. HGC either directly be attached or indirectly be chemistry tradable search because it's not qualified to be a corn ethanol is the economic without the RFS US EPA. In 23, our analysis shows that corn ethanol is economic to use without the presence of the RFS program. Plank 2 cannot solve advantage 2, it kills revenue, and it kills revenue because advance all federal fossil releases no combining planks in the block is used to easy unpredictable combinations and so impossible to answer.
Did you grab both those cards?
No, the AFF would not stop ethanol production of S&B, a 13% decline. Horrible and 123, a repeal of RFS2 mandates not eliminating everyone ethanol incremental 13.5% of increase in the apartment. RFS2 would represent the upper bound of the decrease with its repeal. Yep. That's good. Also, we solved the terminal impact too because we read of food shortages impact that they drop. The cat. Great. Our interpretations of ballot is a referendum on the hypothetical consequences of the plan being supposed to be the plan's implementation. There must be an all that causes these harms with inclusion of plan, or including that solves the issue, and is 1, fairness. You link, you lose, immediately when you see praise the game for the negative, creating resources, fair shifting the next debate, and turns any benefit to the game. Only the ballot can solve in seconds clash, comparing opportunity cost creates argumentative refinement, alternatives for defense and offense, and as a prerequisite making any of their offense portable. The K-proper permutation to both will answer their theory of power when it is explained in the block because it is not understandable after 1 and C. They say capitalism is bad, growth is good, decline cost of war, sign 17, global downturn, reduce atheist threat in governments, growth, affects prevalence and causes in several ways. Expansion has been a major cause of wars that states with higher development of last minute perceived expansion because of the lower value plane inputs and reductionalizing economy violence and increasing costs of disruption from a crisis growth also capacity they stage to handle security challenges, increases in illicit employment, thus raising a cost of insurgency, climate growth, increases the likelihood of conflict. Case is a case out of the alternative because it excludes things like climate securitization. It is good, it builds resources, we also solve warming, and avoids police repression from climatic effects. That alternative is nothing but armchair policy. Leave in 21. Securitization has had negative impacts, notably 9/11, nonetheless, and climate securitization of permanent necessary. This trend is existential after through and normal period parties have failed in mobilization of resources and will. Just have analogies so where arguments of this or equivalent of words countries most cycle renewable energy have a security reason for doing so, a security motive to explain why have it done so much more than some are on a present trajectory. Will military will be drawn into a crowd control and repression to open arms to release to everything to help prevent the climate. No one would follow on to the alternative in the government, or and it would cede politics to Republicans who would do everything to expand emissions. Yeah, there's also no odds. The permutation of both perm to the aphanial to all the instances. The bubbles decide. Warming glows of growth, Melbourne 24, 1% increase at least 12% decline in GDP, 3C. It will cause precipitous declines in the company that exceeds 50%. That will be some growth by people maybe 50% for the issue to reduce or take action on reducing emissions in the zone. Economic interest, no short-term link past 21. Effects of changing federal leasing policies for more than are taken into the future. Federal leases for duration of 10 years and the firms develop leases until just prior to expiration. Changes the leasing policy impacts are beyond a 10-year period and by raising the interest or the loyalty rates. And last year, shift companies had no sell-off White House 20. The trajectory of fossil industry clear choices. Hard landing for soft landing for shareholders pricing will be soft landing pricing can be an accounting adjustment. In many corporations, only we have evidence in the context of the plan and no correlation between the plan and war. Wall 20. I do not think even extraordinary accommodations much impact economic conditions much impact on worthy business or recession. Yeah, warning wars on leaders of the economy recession comes worthy prediction 9 of the last 5 states and not worse unless they believe they will achieve victory. And the motivation of wars is security, not economic gain. Economic conditions are one factor among many of worthy. The most significant no link. The plan does not abandon all federal fossil fuel leases. We read an entire advantage predicated on continuing at those leases. Uniqueness, recession now, Bambro 12 to 18. Stagflation is coming referring to econ stagnation and inflation rebound. Inflation probabilities rising. Federal have to raise rates in 25 to living prices, which are decline of the US dollar. Inflation following if the Fed cuts the price of rising prices, flowing growth of dictatorship, inflation increases. Fed is like to count. Raises party inflation to higher rate or prediction cuts of taxes rise. And so inflation. I finished that card. Jacob can send that.
I already sent it. So there was a first
Actually, can we wait?
It was already sent.
It was sent. The and then the RFS card was sent already.
Alright, ready?
Yep.
Biodiversity impact from the 1AC, 73% of it is in decline worldwide. Like deforestation in the Amazon seems to be a larger interlink than public lands. How does that not trigger the terminal?
I think the Rouse and Durzo evidence are pretty specific about biodiversity loss on US public lands. Things like McConville evidence says that it spans tens of millions of acres, is some of the richest areas of biodiversity in the entire world, that it's decreasing at a rapid rate because of oil and gas development. It then says that those lands are specifically key to things like nutrient cycle, pollination, developing vaccines, etc., which are all necessary for survival.
The last set of warrants come from the Deerzo evidence, and this seems to be the terminal impact. And you said this about the U.S. I don't think it's about the U.S. at all. Where do you think it talks about that specific country?
I think the Deerzo and McPherson evidence are pretty specific to U.S. biodiversity loss. Even if you win arguments about international biodiversity loss decreasing, you read a specific internal link about the U.S. being key.
I kind
The
of
rest evidence is pretty good
think you're
on
like
U.S.
low-key lying about
biodiversity
Deerzo.
is specifically
Where's it talk
key
about
to
the
global
US?
biodiversity. It is relevant to whether or not biodiversity is decreasing.
Okay,
in
so
areas.
to be clear, we're not saying different things. Deerzo is not about the U.S. It's about global
Well,
biodiversity.
Deerzo also says, quote, near 1% extermination is loss of populations and services. So we think that even if you win that there's like some other species, more species being killed in the US is still bad, and we can access this internally.
Okay, so
Like-
riddle me this: why doesn't the advantage counter plan that like solves biodiversity in other places also solve this internally?
We have said public lands are key. The Rouse card, you should read it.
What
It
if we
quotes
say
the
private
world's
lands?
greatest center for biodiversity,
Okay.
over 10,000 species.
Okay.
You've now read a card that says that is the counterplans anywhere close.
Okay, so there's a few arguments in the 2AC that are about like past leasing, thumping, the plan being gradual. Is there a card that quantifies the difference between the plan and the status quo?
Quantifies the difference?
Yes.
I think there's a few pieces of evidence, particularly solvency. So the Hein evidence and the two cards above that are both statistical analyses
How
of
do
the
you spell
policy
Hein?
and says that, sorry,
How
like,
do you spell Hein?
H-E-I-N.
Okay.
The pieces of evidence are a statistical analysis of raising interest rates. It compares things like the status quo policy of 16.67%, banning federal fossil fuel leases, a $50 charge, and the plan, and says that the plan is the best policy because it
What is the
both
plan?
reduces supply and demand while also generating significant
To
revenue.
answer the question about what is different from the status quo to the plan, the first card in the 1AC, Waterkeeper Alliance, says that even though Biden has increased the royalty rates in some way, he did not incorporate the full cost lifecycle factors, so the social and
So,
environmental cost.
Is there a card that describes how much larger the social cost of carbon is than the $16 rate that's the status quo?
1AC did not read that card because you did not make that argument. The
The what?
EPA established that the social cost of carbon is around $200 per ton of emissions.
Sure.
Then we read a card that says that they can't significantly lower that value.
Just condo as a voter?
Yes.
Wait, what is the card that
Oh, well, and
substantiates
combining different counterplan planks. So like,
the preemptive? Okay,
Yeah.
10 minutes. What is the card that substantiates like the court struck down lowering the social cost of
The
carbon?
last
Brooks
card,
20, the last card on NVIDIA 20.
court ruling refutes evidence
Yeah,
submitted on the map, the septic map.
That's a bad idea.
I agree. Big fish cost. Where's this?
It's older. Oh, Pixar and Butter. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
640. I sent the doc. Topicality. The advantage counter plan. The social cost pick. The warming advantage. And then the second advantage.
Give me a second.
Gotcha.
Excuse me. Jesus. Alright,
Sorry.
give me the one more time, sorry.
T in the US, the advantage counter plan, the social cost pick, warming, and then Deadpool.
One second. Is there a document? There is.
Yes. Excellent.
Open that back. Welcome to Alright, let's do it.
Kids.
Topicality must be throughout the United States geographically. Federal lands only violates because the regulations do not apply to federal ownership. The weak arguments are wrong. The fact that they could apply to any industry does not mean that they do apply to any industry. The mandates of the plan do not apply to someone who, for example, owns a leasing company in Idaho. Now, the counterinterpretations start with limits. It's key to clash education. Depth is necessary. The negative needs are nuanced in specific case. Negative to stay in the game. They justify an AFF in any of the following federal areas, inserting the chart for reference. 1. Native land. They could apply any MBI to native land. That's 35% of fossil fuels. Wilson, 23. Native reservations hold more than 35% of America's fossil fuel resources. B. Or respect any energy to focus on coal, natural gas, oil are all viable areas as you. Nash GCRP and 18 coal and gas. Then your reserves $1 trillion in revenue across the field and submit a significant amount of carbon due to Fed policy. C. Inserting the chart. The effective native land after that is topical NILS in 18. Second, they could apply to just US military bases. Lewis in 21. US military is contributing to enlarging the carbon footprint burning. The explosive ammunition base with no mission control. The US military purchased 269,230 barrels of oil a day. Third, grazing on public lands. F. 1323 all 3 summer trade. Public lands livestock grazing equal to 12.4 million. And then T02 a year. The estimate the social cost of public lands to be 1.1 to 2.34 billion dollars a year. Massive subsidy exceeds the poultry of the northern range of pay. 4. Throw in the forest apps from northwestern Kansas, the swampland, and nearshore apps that Emory read, or the possibility for offshore drilling only in federal waters. An app that just counts emissions for the Department of Energy labs, etc. It is unworkable. Their definitions are bad. It means within is not contextual. In the United States is the residential phrase, and all 1 and C evidence is the only card defining it. Their next piece of evidence, Roberts, it is not a single study, i.e. in this, the lab simulation in the United States was specifically tailored to exclude Missouri. That is obviously not a predictable read of the topic, and they don't need it because they don't apply to everywhere except Missouri, so this is not extendable for the 1 era. They say in the US doesn't specify a form, that is irrelevant. It specifies an application geographically as per 1 and C evidence. Logic, this is wrong. In a room is not the same as in the United States because 1 refers to physical location and 1 refers to geography. Resolutional context predetermines that 4 means to cause Feinberg at 95. The purpose of 4 brings mind results in suggestive validation with an action that is made a consequence of other suggestive causal validation. Notice section that is visible with an acting during a causing. Decarbonization means economy wide, showing 22. To achieve decarbonization, aspects of the economy must change industry transferability, second languages. Sectors must all be transferred. Over limiting, wrong. We do not exclude any of the apps that people are putting e-libs on. Carbon tax, cap and trade, reduced subsidies, all topical. Over limiting is better than under limiting. No impact having the same debate twice, but if the negatives crowded out, there's no possibility for germane clash. Functional limits, wrong. They turn sale debate because they encourage the 2 and R2AR to be block recycling. There are none under their interpretation, as demonstrated by this debate, because that is not necessarily larger than the status quo dropped 1 and C argument. And they can always say that Trump will definitely offset the AFF if they're not broad and economy wide. The energy design is not sustainable if the AFF only applies to small amounts of land. Reasonability, they're not. That was above. Prefer competing interpretations. Anything else incentivizes unprecedented judging convention. The sum of all reasonable AFFs is not a reasonable topic. There's no AFF offense competing interpretations. It's a race to the top T substance. Expensive counter interpretations, crowd clash. Okay, advantage counterclaim. To planks. 1. Natural climate solutions. The counterplan funds agricultural reforms like no-till harvest, marshes, and swamplands, and incentivizes river protection across the country, increasing Colorado's resiliency, and solving global biodiversity. They are wrong about having an impact card that is specific to federal lands. They have an internal link about it, but obviously reducing resilience on global biodiversity accesses the same terminal. 2. Reclamation fund. Re-highlighting of what AC evidence establishes plan raises $3 billion in restoration for the Colorado River. The carbon fiat's an outright which solves the entire advantage. 2AC1, do both links. 2AC2, do the carbon efforts. We do not include an MPI. 2AC3, collapses the economy is wrong. 1, no link. Deficit spending is normal. It happens every week. It would fly under the radar, and $3 billion is frankly not that much. 2nd, it links less than the affirmative. If spending $3 billion collapses the economy, then the AFF does, because that is a secondary effect of the plan. They say no solvency advocate. Yes, we re-highlight when I see evidence. They say private land deficits group them. 1, planting trees solves because biodiversity is a global issue, and resiliency for the Colorado River is determined by its surrounding agriculture. 2nd, the reclamation fund solves social cost bank. The social cost of carbon fails. That's KCO. 1, complexity. Models rely on probabilistic variables and do not assume complex interactions due to technology. Unforeseen emission spikes and global action ensure the price is inaccurate. Dropped. 2nd, politicization. Social cost is set by executive order. Lobbyists, bureaucrats, and Republicans are affectable. Lower B, low power to utility. It turns the case even if we don't accept the carbon plan. The carbon plan solves by only using the environmental cost, which is objective, and quote, 1 AC costs executed pricing, deforestation, environmental externalities, which contravenes the deficit. They do not know why this is in the plan text. You should not allow them to change the words on a speech by speech basis. 2AC1, do both links to the NEG because it includes the social cost. 2AC2, do the carbon plan severance. The carbon plan completes functionally and textually excludes words in the affirmative, which changes the pricing function. Counter-interpretation, we get picks out of plan mechanisms that eliminates word picks and discourse that benefits ventures. Functionally competitive counterplans are not muted by arbitrary violations. 1, ground, they've defended the social cost on every other page, allowing severance still beat stable link ground and permits reading rollback on yourself to avoid disheads. 2, flex. States and politics cannot sustain the season. Negative needs multiple options. 3rd, reciprocity. They wrote the plan text. 4, topic precision. This is a core literature paper. We've had evidence describing the clash. 5, Fiat is key. Debates about comparisons between policy options. Negative should not be stuck with the status quo. Conditionality, it's good. 1, negative flex, key to be tried. 2, see atoms and unsustainable status quo into recency bias. 2, testing their interpretation insights have from breadth of criticism, which is key. 3rd, logic, the role of the negative is proof that anything else is arbitrary and self-serving. You can't put off on theory because it does not affirm the resolution. 4, research, advocacy, proliferation increases debates. F, by consolidating the top ground intrinsic control links. 5, stick us with the counterplan. The punishment fits the crime and is ineffable. 6, dispose unreasonable and arbitrarily contains negative. Let's choose pick the 2 and R. 7, it leaks their offense because wide planks are made garbage. 8, conditionality does not link cost applications to diminishing returns contain the negative. Tracy actually did not say an impact phrase. What your analysis will be new. Strike it. Strategy skew is good. Hard debate is good. It forces time allocation, critical thinking, and then efficiency. Okay, now they say no return on FFA. It was extended above. They say that the price would not be struck down. Yes, it would be. This is posturing. There's zero ruling that can constrain Trump. You can always set the price lower, making it insolvent. Even the most theoretically sophisticated models can't price carbon correctly because you on 24 divided by their house if you have no bombs are measuring at the CC, the great uncirculating calculator, future calculator, the development, so trouble the cost and the circulation of the they can drive the accurate calculation that is inherently in touch with the difficulty with the rushing lies beyond the people that are ability mind and the rely on how do assumptions. The card they're referring to is about methane during the Biden administration 5 years ago. A different Supreme Court, zero defense. Court ruling is irrelevant. They say it does not assume the cost of emissions. Yes, it does. Environmental costs, that includes emissions. The first advantage. Okay, 1 and C2, reducing domestic emissions does not solve any part of warming. China and India pay for growth over environmental concerns and notice it cuts, slows international transitions to renewables by lowering the price of oil. Dropped work from Smith, turns any degree framing. Countries are not decarbonizing now, specifically China. Sternhardt in 23 Trump drove China further from America. The pandemic economic slowdown and energy crimes related to China's global doom. China is turning combative for the work of the USG is being clear China's carbon literacy won't be dictated by the there's not like the society of Russia, but there's increasing on the levels of China's resistance for the China through the single day. Nature of the market is blocked. 1 and C4, they solve zero warming. Every degree is a fallacy because there's only one tipping point that's truly existential, and there's no chance that solves it. No extinction from climate change, shipping points like climate permafrost, and deforestation only creates small forest changes that are solved by long-term decarbonization and cushion through adaptation. Even though we warm to 2 or 3 degrees prevents extinction, that's long, no extinction, cold 23. Concept is not a word for the populace association for the IPCC names there, space extinctions, not among the positions that are rather plants here. Those type of progress to achieve the energy and control emissions, we're not heading to the worst case scenario. The climate wars work is wrong. Resource scarcity crushes militant capability. Sally Hahn aim 14 more with an increase in organized political violence scarcity may increase slow level of investment reduce trying to keep capabilities combat take shocks make counter double three safety mission to address attacks and other double three despite counter insurgency shock with on board this is not no biodiversity. In fact, that's Hildebrand. A, trends world ecosystems are seeing transient increases in diversity, not losses. B, no tipping points, ecosystems absorb environmental change, local biodiversity is stable. Caribia in 18 is hard to mention. A, to deliver with no sign identifies no threshold liquor reductions, the often tax the central to reverse page of their ideas often same the species with various local losses, loss of the 90% can be the pocket from two now. One is predicting that 5 years ago, half what we do the end of human prosperity scenario. Deadpool advantage 21. Colorado River is doing fine. Now 1. Lake Powell is adopting Cameron and 24 Lake Powell. Search of the south of the increase water conservation of the weather. Now 3,586 feet rise are further to despite projection conservation strategies in the Colorado River basin save reduce water consumption strategies after the municipal survey. Not reading another card. Theirs is 3 years old. Now, U.S. semiconductor production is not key to the advantage. China is deterred because they rely on Taiwan semiconductors. Primary 23 semiconductors 9%. Number 8 with insufficient chip production as years with very translated. Risk conflict with units that come without access to the most important economic resource. No food supply impacted. They dropped that Trump thumbs because mass deportations make shocks inevitable. No new answers. Food insecurity does not cause war. Invest in 18 little scouts to the 3 man notion that no reduction of access to food increases environmental that are come from the global start or the incentives for the comfort with the rising needs of the world. People that are starving to the position to resort to the lands wide miss out the answer that is shown that is simply the despite for the Israel rate social changes and just this entire market complex. Marked it more complex 640. Can you read a lot or whatever the Taiwan invasion card in the see that because that's all. 234 or 634. I'm good for cross 6.
Perfect. Want to start on topicality? The limits run, what card says native land is in the US / jurisdiction of the US? The 1 in C definition card you said the United States is the states in DC.
Yeah. The 2AC definition is expansive and includes it because it says that anything within the jurisdictional bounds of the United States is topical.
What card says native land is in the jurisdictional bounds of the US? You've read a card that says it excludes that. Which was your 1 in C definition.
Yeah,
I think the definition of
about
jurisdiction probably excludes that.
I think if you read a 1AR card that said it was excluded, it would be hard for us to answer it. I don't agree that the 1 in C card definitively excludes it, but I see where you're coming from.
The social cost of carbon pick.
We have other limits arguments for what it's worth, but yeah.
I get the other examples. Why are these not worse as picks?
Why, it would have been cool if the 2AC made that argument, because I would have read a block.
I think the 2AC functionally did make that argument.
The 2AC literally did not say the word picks. The reason that they're not worse as picks is 1, because judges can use theoretical tools to reject picks, and they're not intrinsic to our interpretation. And 2nd, because the AFF only has to defend itself from picks using the literature of the 1AC. You can have a broad federal lands or keyword, which this 1AC does feature, but when you're negative, you don't have like a generic to every tiny AFF.
The social cost of carbon pick, what card says that the price can be set low?
Castillo from the 1AC.
This card just says sophisticated models don't know the exact determinant value.
That is
Where
one
does
of
it
the
say it
warrants,
can be set
and
low?
crucially, it is one of the warrants that the 2AC dropped, which is that the price will be inaccurate because the models are not capable of accurately pricing carbon due to the complexity
This is like,
variables,
we don't know
which
the
is a
difference
warrant for
between
why
a
less is
$200 cost and a $210 cost. Where does it say
That's like a
it
really
can set
big
it
deal,
arbitrarily
right?
low?
Because the Castillo evidence says that having the most accurate price for carbon is determinant of solvency, and the more variables we introduce, i.e. having both an environmental and a social cost, the more likely we miscalculate that cost, which reduces solvency on a linear level.
I'm
Given that this pick
that.
access
Why
is
does it
all
reduce solvency given the pick totally excludes social cost of carbon and does not tax emissions?
It does tax emissions based on the environmental cost of carbon.
What does that mean? Like, how does the counterplan access emissions, carbon,
Emissions
based off
have
of
an environmental what your Hein evidence is describing is that emissions have an environmental externality because they result in losses to forests, wetlands, etc. That emissions are taxed based on that framework rather than the social
plan
cost
includes
framework.
both that and the social cost of carbon. Why is that not solvent?
Because
I think you're
the
arguing
social
why
cost,
social cost alone would be insufficient. What
no,
says
no, no,
both is
we
insufficient.
don't. The Castillo evidence is very clear that the more variables that are in a model, the more likely it is to miscalculate and then set an incorrect price. And there's also a second argument that the social cost introduces political consequences because bureaucrats know how to lobby against it, and they will be successful in inducing Trump to reduce it to $3. That's a word from 1 in C Castillo, not the 2 in C card.
Starting on the Deadpool advantage. Then the K, trade, and
Deadpool K trade econ.
Yep.
Oh, let me get that.
No, I didn't get the doctor. That is entirely my bad.
You've memorized the Wake PM cards.
Doesn't need the document.
Alright, anyone not good?
No Taiwan War. The risk is too high. I'll dock 23. Beijing has a potential forcing you to vision anytime taking something around the North Taishi. Threaten forces trying to invade 10 constraints. New work is small to make markets as not easy China's. Desert for trying out real estate even further. Key priority is not using personal trade for the economy full hardly diverted fear. I gave out for education short term put into deterrent been happy political rise. Someone's armed the need 100 use of all divided. Repeat the entry on the affirmative hands. More muscular defense, watch solidarity in Ukraine, the EU. Instructed to major report to go out will be danger squad. Knockouts as well as Japan, India, University Taiwan. Nation for the large city for the very. No change for this also needed to only decide to not right for G. Has come to the same. Critique, permutation, not going for it. It's a test of competition. I'm going to expressly concede that growth solves war. That is a terminal impact to the disadvantage because decline eliminates interdependence as well as development, all of which causes war. You should strike their wealth evidence as a specific judge instruction because they double turn themselves. The trade disadvantage of taking it, permutations are just a test of competition. Any cross allocations are new and can be answered by the 2 and R. Bubbles DA. DA outweighs in terms of case. 1. Decline goes nuclear. Strong economy deters nuclear preemption and proliferation in the SES. Taiwan Korean Peninsula. That's compared as 2. Probability. The 2AR will be heavy on every increment of warming matters. The same is true for the DA. Every increment of probability matters because you don't know when economic decline will tip into catastrophe, but we have far more uniqueness for our disadvantage and the link is far larger because the affirmative solves nothing. 3. It turns solvency. Shocks prevent renewable investment, devalue trade. 6. And incentivize global runs on fossil fuels. 4. Decarbonization is coming now and solves the case, but it relies on short-term growth and is driven by an asset plunge. Upturn Clark. 1.8. RE surpassable energy strategy continues to accelerate. Generate 20% of all electricity by 2050 when it's solar. Will transit global fossil fuel industry by 30. That's capital for reduce sustainable assets, energy transition rapid. Transition for investment need 4.55 trillion by 2030 investors. Play key role of transition 7% directed toward RE as transition of leaking momentum transportation extraction. The decarb 5. It turns the impact work reduction as hasty and emissions intensive. 6. Outweighs on timeframe. The planned signal is immediate and rolls back at 124. Environmental laws are only effective only in general public agrees with complex ways without agreement in the community political active active strength and laws will limit public support. 7. Nuclear war outweighs on magnitude. Walsh 22. Exchange word about climate change 2. Rapid survive human cause of materials not likely to pass on to wipes out. And so did the generation for us virus correctly to cross global blocks on the light. Just global cops die. Global time production count time decided through winter. Produce climate change opposite and say global nuclear war would be global fast competition and also global acceleration would wipe out non-Earth lit future term nuclear war cannot be won. 2AC1 warming does not destroy growth. 1. CCS diversification solves. Giants are buying mass investments to meet international goals but avoiding roadblocks is key. That's Kimball. The 1AR gets CCS fails but does not get CCS. Investment is not coming now because it's a tag in 1 and C. CCS will phase in and it's also feels phased out, avoiding stranding assets. Wilson 22. CCUS as a part of interest rate technology not occur overnight. We need C2S for capital not cost cost recurrent. Interest in the job market facilitate transition by reducing risk in a cost efficient manner. The area estimates by 2030 more persist. GTF CP would be a cost standing of this source capacity is above what we need direct air. Will also great problem 550. No capture low scheme rules as a thing industry versus what we're guessing. Do a low carbon economy without the ability to raise on the line facility without saying they lost capital in advance. CCUS for result $150 USD. No carbon travel assets. No portion by 2050 70% need to along with Paris related development of fossil sector would prevent use in other sectors. Shrinking the economy and shrinking the energy industry pulls the rug out of CCS during a transitional stage of financing. Omega 24. Not largely in the market of finance, mostly from carbon responses like oil and gas, HQ utilities. Finance CCS with our balance sheet relatively little data involved in this market. Increase makeability, but a lot of things can happen. This turns the case and adaptation argument. Ion 24. To overcome change in a preserved global ecosystem house was a little more proprietary solving at least. They see instrumental oil and CCS may become attractive and represent permission maybe can be housed with the whole document energy making investment in CCS and apparent global energy can be US is leading. Investment currently capturing 223 million houses annually by 2030. That is 1.113 million. 2. It does not dump. It'll be gradual, phased in. Uniqueness, prices, and warming. Issue-specific uniqueness is negative. US is far outpacing competitors now, which is the key to our return link. Lynch 117. US is going to grow at 2.7%. New York, European, 1% global economy not as lackluster growth through. Nick says the economy sells that the US show with domestic houses based storage better from the US and the rest of the world. US is growing. Cost advantage for rebels, workers, and welcome to business environmental workers, the largest capital market is the edge. The average in the world like the US grows faster than 25% and rather than so only see economy through deregulation and low tax and higher production. 3. Economic decline is resulting to climate change change naughty. 23. The passenger represents the historical purchasing properties all animals at 8% and climate change. The topic of the doesn't add another factor with the impact of net effect. The impact of the property may be one of its auxiliary features. 4. To the 2AC card says 3 degrees cause decline. Thus, we must solve warming by 2 degrees to solve a large decline. Both impacting and solve this out. 2AC2. The plan is not nearly small enough to dodge the link. The plan's abrupt signal reverses the trajectory of green policy and causes mass sell-offs on unrelated sectors. 23. Findings of this, the car policy prices have negative impact on stock. This increase of the first order necessity policy price negatively impact of regulatory events due to increase in the cost of the policy signal policy the result of reduced emissions such as for us committee on education and timing number of routine increase the ultimate ensuring number of pollutant from do not currently participate in internally action with emissions rate. That shock is sufficient to ignite global financial crisis card 19 global financial crisis climate policy would result in also represent major summit climate action never participate in the markets who does even relatively multiple scheme represent a shock concern and also the versus coordinating versus companies seem justified and triggers green paradox turns case found like 1 a disorderly transition from having a emergency to essentially policy on this change and probability also as a cost of your propulsion this offer to use out into the incredible policy leaving paradox also feel more because warming some of warming for the rest try to hinder implementation of policy cause of media policy market valuation and credible transition to run by losses the resulting fire will cause global financial collapse plug 19 top oil coal company communication for percent of carbon reserves of 80% credit reserves might be generated 30% stock exchange of London Moscow negative fossils the industry is also driven and identifying crisis market high nothing was credit cost reporting strong and outward defense market meeting decarbonization goals cost us a crisis 16 times worse than 08 rules of potential losses sort of trending against policy degrees Celsius or size allowance of $104 trillion away the total point to lead to global when under the like potential loss in the gas consumption lots of for the implications and industries the dumpers BLM royalty rates that equals about 4% the plan is sustained because those numbers are carbon prices and Trump's created perception equals support oil and gas the next two numbers are about specific lands the plan prohibits all the federal lands the 1AC waterkeeper evidence says quote the rule omits any climate change action entirely the last one is geothermal who cares 2AC 4 and 5 is no fire sale that's not gradual the carbon price destroys transition investments and fossil fuel valuations that's a rapid market signal that they use the energy sector by signaling untapped fossil fuels for every market that's a constant evidence Walt evidence you should strike it that was on the K Walt is a COVID thing piece it does not rule out the possibility of war Walt 20 economic native world another war there is no everything once later something into one like I'm going to hope
705. 106. I have some cards, and I don't think Ethan does. Do you?
I will. I'll send them out.
Okay.
I
I don't know who you grab. Okay. Let me find the doc, and I'll send it here. Okay.
Are you sending those cards like now, Ethan? Or
I'll probably send them like 30 seconds into the speech.
Okay. I sent my cards. Climate, Deadpool, key subsets, the advantage counterplan, the social cost of carbon pick, the econ missile.
may I ask where the cards you're going to send will be?
T.
Sorry, one more time after T.
Advantage counterplan, pick, discipline. Okay. Wait, y'all both good?
Yep.
Okay. Vaughn, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
2-1, every ball people may be better as Taylor. He exponentially increases extra risk even if we do not solve all emissions. That's key. Taylor said that every single tipping point in molecule up to 2 more degrees is better, which one outweighs, takes away all the low emission stuff. Second, they've dropped a unique separate stuff. The Taylor says that even if China's not abating because of a carbon tax, they're still abating in the status quo. They were decreasing, reducing renewables, etc. It's all yes, it meant climate change, cause extinction, anoxia, extreme soil, serious disturbing issue, tipping points that make Earth unhabitable impacts on linear each structural emission direction, dramatically decrease the risk of extinction. That's Taylor causes nuclear war. That's blue hog migration, water crisis, great inflame tension, cause a big war, inevitable one. The evidence about heat alone does not say that the tipping point before causes do not cause extinction, or say they do not, but and irrationality and like that outweighs scarcity. That thing that because of war, because of migration crises, and water crisis means that they don't have the resources to think clearly, which has ways to cause quantum. The no impact of biology not going forth. The only advantage counterplan stuff that solves biology, which means the counterplan doesn't do anything. The advantage counterplan are advantage too, but yeah, yes, the first piece of evidence is AFF evidence. It says that torpedoed and other policies solve the Lake Powell now. That's our argument. We said the regulation fund is key. We need sustained funding in order to solve the call out over this is for us, because those are policies done by the regulation fund. Yes, in fact, the Taiwan because it's an app war. That's the reason why China would invade, because they want the access to do those. I guess it goes nuclear. Chinese officials certification illegitimates first use public sentiment. It seems to be legitimacy value. Then Taiwan that's swinging away some words in the car, but they did not compare. The shocks are not an card zero on master quotations bad in the context of food, which they don't get it. Yes, in fact, food security, next level, hostile isolation, terrorism, Korea, abroad, Russia, China, Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia, all go nuclear, civil wars and unrest, below the threshold of escalation, drug great power wars, great powers, that's Castle T. It means within the Merriam-Webster, the United States allows for exceptions, but Abraham refers to each state an exception of some. The contextual evidence that's allowed. That's Roberts mishandled. The implication of this argument is not that Mississippi is excludable, but that individual states can be excluded contextually from in the United States. Preferred one, logic, five minute brew, mind within it, not throughout it. This their interpretation applies. Common sense, geography does not make a difference. If I'm in the United States, I'm not throughout it. We are not in every state all at once, same with actions. If you vote AF in this debate, you're not voting AF in every single state. You're voting AF in Texas and the one costume in the UTC. This matters precision. Then logic guides predetermined preference as using preference times what F's are and are not T outweighs something's most important debate. Make T as a guide predictability limits without. Predictability is bad because it creates arbitrary limits and turns T to a sort makes it impossible for AF and limits out every possible AF second over limiting every AF would be loose, or there are not the X companies that not in the companies are not an X state, are there? It's not an industry in X state. It means that carbon tax if it's not economy wide would lose, which checks out. But 90% of the carbon tax, including every AF right of Michigan, the Durban's round, which is bad. That's worse than outweighs because it means that over limiting the debate only happens when there's two sides debating it out the NEG, winning 100% of the time. Their interpretation excludes tribal nations that assume T-cross. I told them what their evidence says. It said there's 50 states and DC. This is important. It means that they cannot get the tribal nation stuff. All Fs are worse as picks. We get started because we said picks are bad in the 2AC. Figuratively aggressive class makes that a combination of states to individual states, which is inherently worse because it means that any possible set makes it impossible to F because the threshold for a pick is far less than an F. We have to read a whole bunch of cards for an F and only a single card for a pick. Like they did in this debate with the fucking social cost of carbon stuff. Functional limits is to check oil, gas, oil, LNG, econ, etc. are all phenomenal. They're phenomenal in the best coordinates on the topic because we have to concede. They have to concede something. They concede that we can take transition to renewables. And no link is their only arguments that we know link every say 10 years. It is debating. You have to debate a no link argument. If you lose or no link argument, it's probably reason why you're just bad at debate. Reasonability good is good enough. They can debate. That's sufficient if we solve that there's functional limits for a reason why they can debate it. So no, decarbonization sector specific. Rand 22 decarbonization refers to reduction of carbon footprint and all industry. Could be business specific. Dave 20 decarbonization refers to elimination of carbon for the operation of business. Bench cover. Drop plank one can't solve warming, but not go for biodiversity. Solve the 2 and CS solve CS conditions that both can't solve warming for production on federal lands. Even they create more carbon storage does not reduce emissions, which is key because every molecule of vapor matter sets tailored plank 2 wrecks the economies for inflation and excessive. They have to spend on the Caterpillar right now. Caterpillar's right up $3 billion for mass inflation by increasing the total cost of goods and money in the economy. Cuts of private investment slows job creation and growth means the crisis. Inevitable. That's Schultz. Their only answer is it happens all the time. It's irrelevant. They haven't read a card on this. Only we have read a card about the inflationary effect of this plank. We do that. Links equal net benefit equally as much as the magnified effect that they've not read. Solvency advocacy says that deficit spending is solvent or efficient to do it. Justifies perm do both. They said they won't kick planks before with advocacies and collapse of the economy because they're not benefit. It's not competitive. The pick. Complexity is wrong. 2 and C cross-sections and embarrassing. Complex in the context of what is the difference between $200 and $210. Not impossible to calculate. Prefer 1AC high has been extremely simple. You find proper agencies in the federal government now based off of the IWG calculations. All they have to do is just apply calculations done by someone else. Rollback is wrong. They dropped the best card on social cost of carbon good. 1AC works is that the courts have defied Trump's attempts to roll back the social cost emissions when he tried to set the social cost of carbon methane to 0. This applies because there's a core precedent that stops Trump from rolling back when it's capricious and not reflective of reality. Can't go for it as a deficit to the case because the plan also includes environmental costs. No, the pick is better than the plan includes social costs. Carbon is still good, even if imperfect. Picks are bad and seal the 1AC forces to generate cells. We can't generate offense that is not linked to the plan to meet impossible picks out of words. Then the plan or with contrived nonsense that benefits rewriting, picking out decarbonization, going for if we replacing with future generations. Woods in the plan did not solve that was above ground. Picks are not key. Functional limits on T. Plus will concede conditionality of the condo is key. The Netflix overcorrecting SAP bias that solves flex other kind of plans and condo checks above. That was above non-reciprocal. That was above contrived definitively rested that benefit taken for us. Yeah, this key is nonsense what the shirt not sure what the warrant is to this is. And competition does not filter the kind of plans abusive directed, even if it is competitive with the 1AC because it despises and fitted. This was the worst model debate. Listen. No turns case, the apple, solution renewable development by increasing demand that's pressed, status quo institutions, solve federal lands, no increasing emissions, even global decarbons current, no green paradox, the app, reduce supply demand that's pressing, the plan would raise away, no rates are not crisis, the link is incoherent, and the one all make evidence about the economy, wide carbon tax, not raising world to raise a plan, there is a tax on production, this is about some production, but not all, in the terms that they're going to shoot, drop in the terms of we tax all gas, existing gas, oil, gas, and the plus of future lease, no biosite, because taxes are affected by the plan, the biosite rates is mythical, the program rates, 23 without large banks, the bad on the success of possible industry, they provide capital to maintain status quo, and the funds, and the experience, and the negative, the facts of the direction, and they said, and they prove returns analysis, something included removing any major asset class, and there is no impact on returns, the peril and the fossil trade, or so physical, and the long term, they avoided oil, and the dividend for those like a fossil. They outperformed links for 10 years because they've at least the last long this perception is dropped. They don't get him. They've conceded Trump pulls up growth, and Louis Carson said will send inflation spiraling, cut off the rates 25, tariff deportation access, and next collapse the economy that's Scarborough. No economy impact 40 U.S. recessions occurred within zero observable correlation with conflict. Wars routinely start during high points and terminate during downturn. That's wall highlights says nothing even if the risk is in zero. It's almost zero. Yes, we can impact defense one sees that capital was bad and growth was good. The 2 ACS respond to both, and the wall gets answered. The answers Trump stays on it because they don't turn themselves first. Warming blows up growth, and the 1 degree increase in warming decrease in GDP by 12%, 3 degrees by 50%. Yes, CCS. The answer is that the solely in the 1C tagged at the card.
6 over.
Says 16.
The card you referenced about Trump was Bambro?
Yeah, Bambro. That was the recession. Yep.
What did you say?
Oh, actually.
Just cases as feel like those. T everything's in the box. Yeah, okay. Oh no, you're missing stuff in that block. I didn't say sorry. There's extra stuff in that. I'm gonna rewrite those. Okay.
we ever get the linear part of the econ yet?
Oh shoot, you're so right. My bad.
Dude.
It was 10.
Just don't be serious at your face.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna run to the bathroom real fast if that's okay.
I'm also actually gonna run to the restroom because I did two like 30 minutes ago.
Let's see what Daniel can. What if we died this diversification deal?
Oh shit.
Crazy day.
I'm gonna forget what the debate's about by the time this turn starts.
Were you saying something to me or was it?
Oh no, I was just groveling.
Oh, okay. I did not hear what you said. What you said?
I said I'm gonna forget what the debate's about by the time the turn starts.
Totally not intentional.
I didn't think it was intentional until you said that.
I'm honestly
Yeah.
kidding.
Wait. The bubbles disadvantage. The social cost of carbon counterplan. The advantage counterplan. And then topicality. And then the first advantage and then the second advantage.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to.
Yeah, it's everything. Sorry. Yeah.
So it's
Bubbles.
just everything.
Social cost of carbon.
Let's pick.
Advantage counterplan. Topicality. 1, 2.
Well, sorry. Whoa. Man, monster. Alright, let me make sure I got this right. Bubbles, social cost of carbon, advantage counterplan, T, climate, Deadpool. Let's get it.
Everyone good?
Yo.
Economic collapse causes extinction, opponents through vicious powers to preempt the United States, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran would all develop new technology causing nuclear war. That's just combined evidence they've conceded. The framing argument that every degree of economic decline matters, all arguments are probabilistic, but that's that Kansas's 0.1,000th of a degree of abatement matters far lower than the fact that crushes the economy realistically. They just said turns the case. 1, the link alone destroys the possibility of transition. They've conceded our updated clock evidence from 3 days ago. Renewable transition is the status quo. We'll reach peak fossil fuel usage by 2030 and totally decarbonize the economy before any amount of warming causes extinction. Our Aeon evidence from the CCS debate says that will prevent every tipping point from becoming existential. Our Wilson evidence says the economy will be totally decarbonized by 2045 and will never have to deal with the worst consequences of climate change. Makes it impossible for them to go for a warming impact. But the plan crushes the economy, which makes the renewable transition inoperable because they need short-term financing as per our Aeon evidence for both CCS and renewable. Second, it turns the impact. Nuclear war destroys the earth immediately. Our Walsh evidence says it causes ozone radiation. Smog in the environment makes it impossible for us to live. Every war makes production worse. Our jets start run on sunshine and increases emissions, and they cannot win the warming ways. Now, Turnsky's answers were incomprehensible to what they are. You should give me grace. They do not increase demand to a sufficient amount. They crush the economy, which makes renewable energy untenable. The green paradox answer, black to word. Yes, Link, this is a crush from an evidentiary and narrative perspective. 1, ripple effects drop. Hexy evidence says that even sectors that are unaffected by the plan would fear the downstream repercussions. They know that carbon is being phased gradually out of the economy and fear either new green policy or an economic repercussion from inflation spilling across other sectors. Our Carnegie evidence says that even, quote, small policies are sufficient to trigger economic decline, and the winner forgot to extend any thumbers, so it is impossible for them to win. Link the offense of the true error. Second, 2 degrees link. Our Wilson evidence says that new decarbonization policies that tie the U.S. to meeting the Paris 2 degrees abatement goals, i.e. our characterization of the plan, collapse the economy because they signal to fossil fuel firms that untapped investments will never reach the market, causing an immediate run on assets that causes economic tailwind. Now, they have just said that their links are to carbon tax 20 times. That is relevant. A lot of our cards do mention carbon tax, but they say within the context of economic policy. Our Hexy evidence is specific, as well as our Carnegie evidence to small economic policies and the ripple effects that they can have. The link characterization of the QA will all be new. You should check it from your flow. They made the choice to ramble and read a piece of evidence instead of doing an in-depth comparison. Now, they say that Trump destroys growth. This was not in the tag of one-year evidence, so I get whatever I want. Now, we are out-framing the one narrative. Our Lynch evidence is a month post their evidence says the U.S. economy is growing. They're strong now, outpacing inflation and continuing to compete with our peers. It is not relevant if the U.S. has some economic decline because our Wilson evidence says that the recession caused by the plan is 16 times worse than anything that we have ever seen, and the threshold for our turtle link is very large. We need to fall behind China, Russia, and North Korea, which is not the status quo as per Lynch evidence from 3 weeks ago. 2, Trump does not price and cause collapse. It's variety in 130. The company agreed during 3 for a couple of days, so that issue by Trump's talk about doing around here. There's still the economy remains on solid footing. GDP around 2.5% line before the pandemic. Inflation is down. The job market is down. The unemployment rate is near historical lows. Consumer spending held up. Any economic domestic growth no slowing, but holding up. Now, Walt evidence first. Strike it. They contradicted themselves. I don't care if we double check ourselves. They should have conceded one of them and not